Syria, ravaged by nearly 14 years of civil war, finds itself at a crossroads. The reign of Bashar al-Assad has ended after a sweeping offensive, ushering in a new era with Ahmed al Sharaa at the helm. Sharaa, leader of the Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, has wasted no time in consolidating power. His ascension has been met with a mix of hope and apprehension, both within Syria's fractured society and on the international stage. The world watches with bated breath, wondering if Sharaa's leadership will bring forth genuine change, or simply perpetuate the cycles of violence and division that have plagued Syria for over a decade. Sharaa's victory marks a turning point in the Syrian conflict, one that has reshaped the region's geopolitical landscape and created a humanitarian crisis of staggering proportions. With over 500,000 lives lost and millions displaced, the scars of war run deep. The Assad regime's brutal crackdown on dissent, coupled with the rise of extremist groups like ISIS, plunged the country into chaos. Against this backdrop of devastation, Sharaa's rise to power represents a significant shift in the balance of power. His every move will be scrutinized as he navigates the complexities of rebuilding a nation shattered by conflict. The international community, long grappling with the Syrian crisis, is cautiously observing Sharaa's early actions. His background as the leader of HTS, a group designated as terrorist by many countries, raises concerns about his commitment to human rights and democratic values. Sharaa has attempted to assuage these concerns, presenting himself as a moderate figure seeking reconciliation and unity. He has pledged to protect all sects and minorities, emphasizing a vision of coexistence in a country riven by sectarian violence. However, skepticism remains, and Sharaa faces an uphill battle in gaining international legitimacy and trust. The road ahead for Sharaa is fraught with challenges. Rebuilding Syria's devastated infrastructure, healing societal divisions, and addressing the root causes of the conflict will require a Herculean effort. Furthermore, Sharaa must contend with the remnants of the Assad regime, the presence of foreign powers with their own agendas, and the threat of extremist groups seeking to exploit the chaos. The international community has a crucial role to play in supporting Syria's reconstruction and fostering an environment conducive to lasting peace. Sharaa's vision for Syria is one of a centralized control, with the state holding a monopoly on the use of force. In a bold move, he has declared that all weapons in the country, including those held by Kurdish-led forces, must come under state control. This announcement, made during a press conference alongside Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, sent shockwaves through Syria and beyond. It signaled Sharaa's determination to assert his authority and dismantle the network of armed groups that have proliferated during the civil war. "We will absolutely not allow there to be weapons in the country outside state control," Sharaa declared, his words carrying the weight of a leader determined to impose order. This policy, if successfully implemented, would represent a seismic shift in Syria's power dynamics. For years, the country has been a patchwork of fiefdoms, with various armed groups, militias, and foreign powers vying for control. Sharaa's ambition to disarm these groups and integrate them into the national army is a testament to his desire to restore the Syrian state's authority. However, Sharaa's vision faces significant obstacles. Disarming Kurdish-led forces, who have been instrumental in combating ISIS and control large swaths of northeastern Syria, is likely to be met with resistance. The Kurds, fearing marginalization and reprisals, are unlikely to relinquish their hard-won autonomy without guarantees of their safety and rights. Furthermore, integrating disparate armed groups with their own ideologies, loyalties, and agendas into a cohesive national army will be a complex and delicate process. Sharaa's push for centralized control extends beyond the military realm. He has also pledged to address the humanitarian crisis, rebuild Syria's shattered economy, and provide essential services to the population. However, achieving these goals will require significant international assistance and investment. Sharaa's ability to attract foreign aid and investment will depend on his ability to convince the world that he is a reliable partner committed to peace, stability, and human rights. The international community's response to Sharaa's rise has been a mix of cautious engagement and wary observation. Regional powers, long embroiled in the Syrian conflict, are recalibrating their strategies in light of the new reality. Turkey, a key backer of the Syrian opposition, has been among the first to engage with Sharaa. Foreign Minister Fidan's visit to Damascus, where he stood shoulder to shoulder with Sharaa, signaled a pragmatic shift in Turkish policy. Ankara, facing its own security concerns related to Kurdish aspirations for self-determination, sees an opportunity to work with Sharaa to counter this perceived threat. Saudi Arabia, another major regional player, has also signaled a willingness to engage with Sharaa's government. After years of supporting the Syrian opposition, Riyadh is now exploring avenues for dialogue and cooperation. This shift reflects a broader trend in the region, as former foes seek to mend fences and prioritize stability over ideological battles. The Saudis, like the Turks, are motivated by a desire to counter Iranian influence in Syria and the broader region. Western powers, including the United States and the European Union, have adopted a more cautious approach. While acknowledging the need to engage with Syria's new leadership, they have also expressed concerns about human rights, accountability for past atrocities, and the need for a political solution that includes all Syrians. The US in particular remains wary of Sharaa's past ties to extremist groups and has shown no indication of lifting sanctions or providing significant aid. Germany, a key European power, has expressed specific concerns about the plight of Kurdish populations in northern Syria. Tobias Dunkel, a senior German diplomat, has urged all parties to exercise restraint and protect civilians caught in the crossfire between Turkish-backed forces and Kurdish fighters. The situation in Kurdish-held areas remains volatile, with clashes erupting periodically and raising fears of a wider conflagration. As Sharaa consolidates his grip on power, he faces a daunting array of challenges. Gaining international recognition and legitimacy is paramount. His past as the leader of HTS, a group designated as terrorist by many countries, hangs over him like a cloud. Sharaa has sought to distance himself from HTS's more extreme elements, presenting himself as a pragmatic leader focused on unity and reconciliation. However, convincing the world to shed its perception of him as a terrorist leader will be a long and arduous process. Beyond the issue of legitimacy, Sharaa must also contend with the deep-seated divisions that fueled the Syrian conflict. Years of war have exacerbated sectarian tensions, created a climate of mistrust, and left behind a legacy of trauma. Bridging these divides, fostering reconciliation, and rebuilding a sense of national unity will require more than just pronouncements of peace and harmony. It will demand a genuine commitment to inclusivity, justice, and accountability for past crimes. The security situation in Syria remains fragile, with the potential for renewed conflict always present. Turkey's ongoing military operations against Kurdish-held territories in the north pose a significant threat to stability. Clashes between Turkish-backed forces and Kurdish fighters have resulted in civilian casualties, displacing populations and fueling tensions. Sharaa's ability to manage these tensions, prevent a wider conflagration, and find a lasting solution to the Kurdish issue will be crucial for Syria's future. The humanitarian crisis in Syria remains dire. Millions remain displaced, both within the country and beyond its borders. The economy lies in ruins, with infrastructure devastated and basic services scarce. Rebuilding Syria and providing for the needs of its people will require a massive infusion of international aid and investment. Sharaa's ability to attract such assistance will depend on his ability to convince the world that he is a reliable partner committed to using aid effectively and transparently. The road ahead for Syria is long and uncertain. Sharaa's rise to power marks a new chapter in the country's tumultuous history, but it is too early to tell whether it will usher in an era of peace and stability, or simply perpetuate the cycles of violence and division. The international community has a responsibility to engage constructively with Syria's new leadership, providing support for reconstruction and peace building, while also holding Sharaa accountable for his promises of reform and reconciliation. The Syrian people, who have endured unimaginable suffering, deserve nothing less than a future free from conflict and oppression.